La for hatred for none, for Islam stand for peace. La for hatred for none, all the time. La for hatred for none, for Islam stand for peace.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome yet again to another exciting edition of Inspirational Africans. Over the past couple of months, we've brought to you inspiring stories of great Africans who have achieved enormously and are doing great things to transform their communities. But beyond the elderly people that we feature on this program, we want to also feature some young people who have shown great potential and who can also be a source of inspiration for other young people. So today, our guest is very young, but he has a great achievement under his belt.
After emerging as the overall best candidate in the 2014 May-June WASSCE with 8 A1s, 17-year-old Mickail Hassan could not afford to attend a university and had to work as a classroom teacher in a private school until a bank scholarship saved him. Master Mickail Hassan beat over 2 million candidates from Nigeria, the Gambia, Sierra Leone, and Liberia to emerge the overall best in the 2014 May-June West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASSCE. The 17-year-old Ghanaian, a former student of Ghana Secondary Technical School, Takoradi, scored 8 A1s including English language and mathematics to emerge the overall best. Despite his feat, Hassan was faced with the problem of sourcing funds for his tertiary education. His parents are too poor to provide the needed funds. So, while his mates who obviously performed poorer in the West African Certificate Examination, WASSCE, secured admission into various universities, he had to stay back at home teaching at a private school. He was, however, recently rescued in the form of a scholarship award from the Universal Merchant Bank, Ghana. On Thursday, 12th of March, officials of the bank presented him with a full scholarship covering his tuition, feeding, accommodation, and stipend throughout his course. The bank's Director of Corporate Banking, Mr. Kwame Poku, presented a dummy check to an elated Hassan at the ceremony. On Tuesday, Hassan and two 18-year-olds, Kenya Blachi and Archibald Enimful Henry, his compatriot, were honored at the West African Examination Council's International Excellence Awards held at WAEX International Office Multiple Purpose Hall, Ikeja. For MTA Africa, Saeed Fadlullahi reporting.
Mickail Hassan, welcome to Inspirational Africans.
Thank you.
And you're actually our first young person that we are interviewing on this show. So that is also another achievement under your belt. We intend to interview more young people to serve as a great source of inspiration. So now let's go back to your biggest achievement so far. Best students, WASSCE 2014 West Africa. How did you find out about it?
I found out about it. It was a year after we wrote the examination. I think I was doing some classes for GHS students who are preparing for the BEC examination. And then I had a call from the headmaster of Ghana Secondary Technical School. And he informed me that I have been given such an award. Okay. And as you can imagine, when I heard the news, I was very excited. And I gave thanks to Allah Almighty that He is the only one who can create such an opportunity for you.
So you're not just best student in your school, you're not just best student in Ghana, but best student in the whole of West Africa. Did the enormity of such an honor dawn on you? How did you process it?
It came to me as a surprise, because I wasn't actually expecting it, because all that I wanted was to study very well and then pass the examination and pass it very well, so that if in case with a good results you can apply for a scholarship somewhere and then to continue your education. And so when I received the news that I was the best student in West Africa, it really came as a
How did your headmaster put it? You know, do you remember his exact words?
Actually, it was a teacher of mine who called me to inform that the headmaster has told him to. But I think he decided he wanted to inform me earlier before the school. So he just, when he called me, just said, congratulations. So I didn't understand what he meant because I didn't know exactly because it was about a year after the examination. And then he said, you have done it, you have just won the best student in West Africa. And I said, so I couldn't even speak on the phone for about a minute or so. I was just surprised.
Processing the information.
Because I wasn't actually expecting such an enormous achievement.
So after that phone call, who was the first person you called?
I called my father to inform him about that, and he was very happy to.
So take us through the process. So you've been informed that you are now the best student in the whole of West Africa. What happened after? How did you receive the award?
So after I received the news, the next following day I went to the school too, and they gave me the letter that the WAEC examination, West African Examination Council sent to them, and then they said they will bring the details. I think it's about 2 weeks time or so. And so when the details came, we were supposed to, actually it was a ceremony for best student in Ghana. Yes, and so when we went, I think it was it was in May, I've forgotten the exact date. But when we went to Accra, it was during the ceremony that they said the best 3 students in Ghana were also the best 3 students who topped the whole of West Africa. And fortunately for me, I was the best student in Ghana, so which means automatically I will be the best student in West Africa.
So, but what does it mean when they say you're the best students in West Africa?
So it means for the whole WASI examination, if you take all the courses, that is the overall best student, whether general arts or science, or if you take all of them together, the one who you met as the best student, that is, they will add the raw scores of those who had 8 A's.
Okay, so you had 8 A's to start with?
Yes.
Okay, that is 8 courses?
They explained it there that before you can qualify for the award, you have to get 8 A's.
Of course.
A's in at least 8 A's in all the courses you registered.
Okay.
And so that's when you qualify. And after they will add the marks of all the raw scores, the actual scores.
So the raw scores is maybe general maths, you did what, 90%, science, you had 80%. So at the end of the day, they add all the is it the percentages or actually the actual, okay, yeah, look, okay, 8 over 100, that's like 80%. Let's say you had 8 over 100, right? So they would add everything together, and the one with the highest scores, okay. So it means out of the millions of students who sat for the exams, you emerged the first person with the highest scores. Congratulations from the MTA team. So now take me back. And I'll take you, we'll go from secondary school to primary school. So your first year in secondary school, when you started school, did you have at the back of your mind that I want to study and become the best student in West Africa? No,
when I started secondary school, I didn't have such thought in my mind, because I was even thinking that best students in West Africa are for certain groups of people. So he also asked me, we are just trying to do our best and make sure we get, at least try as much as possible to get A's and other stuff, because normally in Ghana, if you want to do any medicine especially, you have to get 8 A's before. So I was actually hoping that I will just be able to get 8 A's and then try to apply for a scholarship to continue my education. So I didn't actually have it at the back of my mind that I want to be the best student in West Africa. So I'm studying to become the best student in West Africa. So that's why when I was told that I was the best student, it actually came to me as a big surprise.
So you were actually focusing on passing your exam to get a scholarship.
Yes.
Why did you want to pass your exam and get a scholarship?
Because throughout my education from GHS, I've been having problems financially. Yes. And so that's why it actually made me realize that I have to study very well so that I can pass and pass well. Because if you are applying for a scholarship, if you get a very good grade and you apply for a scholarship, it boosts your chances of getting the scholarship.
Tell me about some of these challenges that you faced in your early education. First of all, let's backtrack to your life, then I'll bring it forward. Where were you born? Where did you have your early education?
Okay. I was born in Salt Pond, in Central Region.
Okay, what year?
The 17th of May, 1997.
Okay, 97?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't mind me. It's not like I was born in 1957. Yeah.
And then, but actually we moved to Takoradi, so I spent most of my childhood at Takoradi.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to Tia Media Junior High School at Takoradi. It was very close to the mission house and very close to our house, so normally you can easily move. And then where I had aggregate 9, the basic education certificate, that's the BC examination. Okay. And then I get
BC, you didn't emerge the highest student in West Africa then, right?
No.
Don't worry. So your primary education was in Takoradi?
Yes.
Okay, then you went to secondary?
Yes.
Junior high and senior high?
Junior high was still at Takoradi. So I went to primary school at TI Media.
Okay.
So it was a primary
all the way to JSS. Okay.
So when I completed, then I gained admission to Ghana Secondary Technical School, which is also in Takoradi, Western region. And so it was there that I completed the 3 years and then wrote the WASSCE examination. Yeah,
so you mentioned that you had difficulty in financial problems. Was it in paying your fees?
Yes. Problems, it was involved in a whole lot of things, even paying the fees, plus even feeding, and it was it was like very complex.
But I'm sure that as a student, you had other colleagues who probably came from privileged or well-to-do homes who didn't have problems with their fees and maybe feeding. How did that make you feel? And did it affect you in any way psychologically? Did it discourage you from even learning?
No, actually, when I see such things, it actually made me realize that you rather have to study very well because you don't have enough. So you have to study very well so that you can actually be able, like I said, in order to get their scholarship. Because as for them, even if they didn't get scholarships, they can still be able to pay their school fees. But for you, your case, you know that without a scholarship, you cannot continue your tertiary education. And so you have to study very well and pray to Allah Almighty for Him to pave a way for you. And so when I actually see students, it actually motivated me to study harder, so that because it takes you to realize the kind of situation you find yourself in, so that you try to give your possible best and then leave the rest to Allah Almighty for Him to.
What kind of friends did you keep around you when you were back in school, in JSS and secondary school?
Mostly the friends I had, they were all academic oriented. So we normally discuss questions. We're always trying to find out information. We actually try to look for questions to solve, so that, because for examination, the more you solve more questions, the more you get exposed to a whole lot of questions. So when you go to the examination, you won't be more like taken aback by the examination paper. And normally, for example, if you're going to write a WASSCE paper, the past questions that normally come. When it's not about just hoping that the past questions will come, but when you solve it, you get to know the level of examination you are going to face and the standard of the paper, so that you prepare yourself to the level of that paper. So when you go there, you won't be found wanting on the paper. So that's what we were basically.
So your friends were all like the academic, serious kind of students.
Yes.
So what was it? So beyond learning, did you have any probably social life on campus, or it was just one of those students who classroom prep?
Yeah. Okay, I wouldn't say I had a social life on campus, but
you didn't go to the dining hall?
Okay, I wasn't I was a day student.
You were a day student. Okay, and that was also because of your financial difficulties, right?
So I was a day student.
Okay.
True.
Okay. Yeah. But did you take part in any extracurricular activities, debates, sports, or you're just focused entirely on your books?
I actually wanted to take part in table tennis because I was a day student.
Okay, you could. But what do you think? Do you think that people who engage in extracurricular activities when they are in school, do you think it affects the academic, or do you think you can balance your extracurricular activities as well as your education and still come up the best students in West Africa?
Well, for me, I think you can still balance it, because it's not always all the period that you spend to do the extracurricular activities.
Okay.
And actually, the extracurricular activities helps you to, because it makes you relax, because if you steady, sometimes you become saturated with what you're learning, so you have to do some extracurricular activities. So for me, I wish that I could have done some extra.
But what did you do to relax then? Because you talk about saturation of knowledge and studying. I mean, when you are tired of being, engaged in your books, what are some of the things that you did?
Okay, normally, for me personally, I used to play some form of table tennis.
Okay, some form of table, which I don't know.
Okay, please place on the floor. Those sprays. The kind of balls to place. And also, at home too, I think my senior brother was having a laptop, so sometimes we watch documentaries and other things. Okay,
you didn't watch movies, you watch documentaries.
And movies so
okay. I mean, so can you share some? I mean, I'm sure every student, when you're back in secondary school, you have some experiences memorable. They can be scary, they can be exciting, they can be challenging. Are there any experiences that stand out for you while you're in secondary school?
Well, I think there's what has to do with during examinations week. Because of the fees, you've been writing an examination, then you will hear from the next class that they are sacking people.
Okay, so they used to sack people during examination. Okay.
And so as you're writing, you will feel like you are in a rush to you want to finish early as much as possible and try to submit before they come and take your paper away.
Were you ever sacked?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the first hours.
So when you are in the classroom like that with all your colleagues and you're writing your examinations and the teacher just comes in, Mickail, you're owing, go home. How does it make you feel?
Oh, it makes you feel very depressed because it's like you wish that because there's times you could, especially when they bring the paper in, you can
see the first question.
You can write this paper and then all of a sudden you just come and
how did you deal with such depression, if I may say?
Well, I knew that no, as an Ahmadi, you have to put your faith in Allah Almighty. Okay. And so Allah Almighty is the he controls everything. So whatever situation, whatever challenges you are facing, He will provide a way for you. And so I put my trust in Allah Almighty. That's why those people, I don't allow them to weigh me down. And so because you always have Allah Almighty in mind, and then hope that one day He will create a way for you.
So when they, for example, sack you from class like that, and you go back home and you tell your parents, usually what do they say?
My father even before the exams, he would be trying as much as possible to see if the headmaster could allow us
to write.
So also when he come, like, he even becomes sad that he whatever all that he told the headmaster did not agree. So he becomes very, very sad.
But was there a point in your school life, in school, that actually this guy is brilliant, even though he's not been able to pay his fees, let's give him a little bit of chance? Did you have at least some opportunities?
Yes, some of the teachers.
Okay.
The ones who actually knew me.
Okay.
When they are invigilating, they allow me to write the exams. They don't even bother to sack me also.
You were part of your school's quiz,
And then during the final year too, that was when we were part of the National Science and Maths quiz team. And so the headmaster at that time, had been changed. At that time, did not actually bother us. He allowed us to write the WASI examination, and that's hopefully, I was able to become the best student thanks by the grace of Allah.
I'm sure your school would have felt, or your new headmaster would have felt vindicated after you winning that. Did you finish with any debts?
Yeah, when I completed, I was actually
you're in the school. Okay, have you paid all the school?
Some of the old students have to
pay on your behalf. Okay, did you look up to any personalities when you were back in school? Did you have any mentors that inspired you?
Okay, well, actually, when we went to school, we heard of one guy at GST. He was called. I actually had for the science and maths quiz.
Okay,
there was this guy. What was his name? Kunal also.
Okay,
he went to science maths quiz, and then the way they said the quiz mistress at that time was praising her. We actually watched some of his contests, and we saw that yes, we all wanted to be like him. And the way he was just answering the questions was just impressive. And so we all wanted to at least go and do something. And then in 2012, which was very recently, to the quiz team which was there, I think it was George Kofi Annan and Mickail.
Okay.
And I think the other guy, I forgot his name, Samuel Amoa.
Okay.
They actually won the cup in 2012. And so when they came to speak to us, and we were very impressed by what they said, and they actually motivated us to try and study very well.
Viewers, you're watching Inspirational Africans. We are talking to Mickail Hassan. He emerged the best students in WASI 2014. The whole of West Africa, he was awarded the best student. So it's actually a great achievement. And we're talking to him, trying to find out how he won that feat, some of the challenges that he went through. So now that you won the best student award, you were given a scholarship?
Yes.
Yes, to go and study?
Okay, to do any course you want, but you have to study in Ghana.
Okay. So the scholarship was from which part? The scholarship secretariat?
No, it's from the Merchant Bank.
Okay, Merchant Bank gave you the scholarship. Okay, so now you are studying?
I'm at Kane University offering medicine.
Okay, you're doing medicine, and the aim is to become a medical doctor. And how is that experience? Is it difficult? Is it easy? I mean, for those of you who are sharks in code.
Medical school is very interesting and very difficult.
Okay.
Yes, when you are there, you actually enjoy the school, but you also have to work very hard.
Okay.
Because it's not a work in the path for. Because no matter how good you are, when you go to medical school, it's a different environment altogether.
Okay.
You have to start. You have to go there with a different mindset. Know that
what kind of mindset?
You are coming to start a whole new thing altogether. It's an entirely different level altogether. So you put in all your maximum efforts, and then you try your possible best, because it's actually very, very difficult.
So you didn't go like with the impression, yeah, I'm the best student in West Africa. What is difficult about this? And just bring it on, Did you? But did your colleagues know who you were when you got to the medical school?
Actually, most of them knew who I was when I went to school.
And how were they relating with you? Or how have they been relating with you?
The relation has been cordial, and then we've actually been it's a medical, it's all about teamwork because we all are very good students.
Okay.
And so when we form group studies and with each other and you study, you will learn something from someone that you don't know. Okay. So that's how it is. So that's how you have to, for a medical, you have to collaborate and then try as much as possible to help one another out so that you can all sail through.
What areas of specification would you be looking at?
Okay, right now I haven't thought about it.
Okay. But it's something that
once we do it higher, you get to know the courses available, and then you actually begin to choose which one.
Okay. If I ask you, what's your vision for the future? Where do you see yourself in the next 10, 15, 20 years? You're looking at it from your vision is year by year?
Okay, since I actually haven't decided which area I'm going to go to, I can't actually tell you the exact.
Oh, maybe they're not exact, but in terms of your overall vision for your life.
Okay, yeah. I intend to graduate from medical school with very good grades, and then try and get a scholarship to further studies abroad, so that you can to do research or either to go into surgery or to into research. So right now I haven't decided whether to go into a research area
in terms of the specific field. Okay.
So I tried. I mean, I try to see myself. What I want to be. Like I want to be someone who can impact on the lives of various people in the society, because I'm actually fascinated by the neuroanatomy.
Okay.
But I heard this is very, very difficult.
The neuroanatomy, if you can tell us layman what is a neuroanatomy. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure our camera people have absolutely no idea what neuroanatomy is.
It deals with the anatomy of the nervous system, the brain, the spinal cord.
Okay, so understanding the whole.
Because the human brain, understanding the human brain is a very complex organ, and so we haven't even been able to understand even even 10% of
the potential of the human brain.
Okay. So I want to. That's what actually interests me.
It excites you, you know.
Yeah, and so I'm actually thinking about it, but I haven't decided on which.
What do you think of robotics?
Robotics.
I mean, right now the world is moving into a very technical age where people foresee robots playing, similar roles as human beings, and there's a whole enterprise to make robots more like human beings, to think and act more like us. So, what do you think of robotics?
Okay. For me, robotics, I see it in two ways. Okay. In some ways, it can help human beings because there are some procedures dealing with things that if robots are doing it, but it will make it easier and faster. But the other side is that robots is a machine, and machines can break down at any time. They can, and assuming you are dealing with a human life and then you are using a robot, and then something goes wrong, then what's that? So I wouldn't say robotics is a bad thing, but I don't also say that. Okay, I can't.
I mean, of course, there are a lot of ethical concerns as to whether we should empower robots to be able to think, and are they replacing human beings, and can they show? But because of your interest in anatomy, right? Neuroanatomy, I thought I would pick your mind on robotics. When you look at Africa and our continent, Ghana, Africa, in terms of development, what are some of the key areas or issues that you think we should be concentrating on as a people to help us accelerate our development?
Ghana as a country, I think we should look at our educational structure.
Okay.
Because the way our educational structure makes it very difficult for students to study. It's more or less like theory.
Okay.
Without any practical association with it. So it makes it very, very difficult to actually even picture what you are studying.
Okay.
And that makes the studies very difficult for them. Okay. And even the duration for the studies too. I don't know if they can respect, but most students will need to be sure so that they will finish early.
Okay.
But for me, I would rather prefer that we make it longer for the student to actually understand what they are studying.
Longer in what respect? In terms of our senior high school system?
It's our senior high school system. Okay. Because for senior high school, for example, it's 3 years. Okay. And actually the first years, they come around September, November. Okay. So practically the first semester of the first year.
You ascribe to the school of thought that senior high school education in Ghana should not be 3 years, it should be 4 years.
Yes, it should be increased to enable the student to actually learn more. But I'm sure not every student will agree with me. Okay. Because Yeah.
And so you feel that also we have to practicalize our education to help students. And some people have felt that there's too much content, like you studied a subject, you're studying two different things. People feel that once you go into secondary school, you should begin focusing on what you want to specialize in, and that we shouldn't overload students with so many courses. What's your view on that school of thought?
Okay. Normally for the senior high school, the core maths and that you are doing, it's still part of the basic ones you are supposed to know.
Okay.
Yes, and so that's why I was saying that it all depends with the time. Okay. Because it is too small, that's why the students find it difficult to appreciate what they are saying. It's more or less like a burden on student to read it. And adding it to, as you said, the area you want to, because at least SS, they've still managed to separate it, but it's just like someone doing home economics or general arts. The core maths and the integrated science, those ones, they are basic sciences you have to know. And so, I don't see it as a problem.
So you feel the 8 courses, for example, that you studied in senior high school is okay? It's not too much of a burden?
Yeah, it's not too much, but if it's still 3 years, then it becomes a burden on the student, because it's not every student who can actually learn it within that 3 years time.
In bringing our discussion to an end, I'm sure you have other younger ones who are in secondary school now in GSS, some people who might be in a similar situation, facing serious financial issues, which might actually be affecting their confidence. What advice would you give to your colleagues who are coming up in junior high, senior high school?
The advice I'll give to them is that they should not look at their current situation to say that, to become depressed, and that because of that you will not study, and because you will never know when your opportunity will come. So all that you have to do is just, whichever opportunity you get, try as much as possible to study hard, and then pray. Because the prayers is there. Without prayers, there's nothing you can do. Because the difficult of situations is not difficult for Allah Almighty. So try as much as possible to be praying, be very prayerful as well. And then study very hard, because these are the only 2 key things that can help you to sail through. And then as you continue to pray, your opportunity will come, and then you will be able to sail through. Because for me, for example, I quite remember during the time we were writing the WASI, because of this same financial situation, our water was disconnected. And then I was actually thinking, having to walk about close to 1 kilometer or more every day to school and back. And then after going back to fetch water and everything, during the WASI period, you could even imagine how the extent of time you even get, and then the concentration you even have on studies. Because as you are studying, you realize that if you are not fully concentrated on it, you will be reading it, but you won't actually be learning it. And so for me, I think that, but with all these situations, if Allah Almighty has decreed that He will pave the way for you, He will eventually pave the way for you. And so I don't see them to, what I would like to tell them is that they should just give their best, because if you don't do your best, you can't say Allah Almighty has not helped you. Just try as much as possible and learn your best, even if you can't learn everything, because after all, examination, it's not everything that is going to come to the examination. So just try your best and learn as much as you can, and then pray to Allah Almighty for His guidance, and then He will sail you through. Then you'll get your opportunity.
Mickail, Hassan, thank you very much for joining us on Inspirational Africans. We wish you all the best. We hope that you continue to make all of us proud, to make Ghana and indeed Africa proud, and you fulfill your dreams. And sometime in the future, we would have you again on Inspirational Africans after you've accumulated more achievements under your belt. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, viewers, that has been the inspiring story of Mickail Al-Hassan, best student in the whole of the West African Examination Council exams, I believe. In 2014, he emerged the best student, and today he was here to share his story with us. And we hope that you have learned something, and that you understand that no matter where you are coming from, no matter what challenges that you find yourself, if you work hard and you back it with prayers, you are going to sail through. Join us again for another exciting edition of Inspirational Africans.